Yo, yo, what up? Just kidding. Hello, pocket knife community, knife lovers, knife enthusiasts, interested viewers folder here. Yeah, so we checking out a Spyderco today. The Spyderco Native 5. So this is a knife that's been around for a while. And it has been privy to every treatment, every blade treatment that Spyderco probably has ever put out in the history of Spyderco. I mean, I think they've used every single steel on this knife. This one happens to be in CPM Spy 27, which is basically it's basically S35VN. I think that the chemical composition of it is very similar. It falls somewhere between S30V, CPM S30V, and S35VN. It is Spyderco's proprietary steel that they contracted Crucible for. You know, companies do this because it's more cost effective. I mean, you might be saying to yourself, well, if it's just like S35 or S30, then why do the Spy 27? It's partially just because you know they they can get a deal on steel, and they can call it their own. You know, they buy a bunch of it, they call it their own. They change something very minor, so it's very minor differences to S35, but basically it's the same thing. The characteristics are the same, very stainless, you know, good all-around steel. And Spyderco gets to have, this is a business, right? This is a business. Spyderco is a company that is in it to make money. So by doing the Spy 27, they can, they can be much more cost effective and do things in bulk. But this knife, the Native 5, lightweight, I mean, it literally comes in S35, Spy 27. They have a version in Rex 45, which is that's a non-stainless, really tough steel, Rex 45. 4V and a Saint Nick. And this knife used to be under $100 back in the days. You know, I, I'm not saying this knife is not worth over $100. You know, it's just the FRN, fiberglass reinforced nylon. This is the type. This is not a premium material. It does everything great, but it's just not. It doesn't command the biggest premiums. But it's fantastic. It keeps it lightweight. It's durable. It has this bi-directional texturing on it that makes it very grippy. Yeah. And this particular version of the lightweight, ironically, which is incredible because a lot of them you can't take apart. This one you can. So you can take this apart and service it. It has a pin here. And the rest of these are, believe it or not, drum roll, believe it or not, that's a T8. That's a T8. And that's a T8. All T8s. So this thing really, when you really think about it, right? It's no frills, but like there's really nothing to complain. Like it is a cutting tool. So let's just get into it. This is the Native 5, and you can see this is it next to a Spyderco Chaparral. It's bigger than the Chaparral. And then this is the Native 5 next to the PM2. I mean, yeah, the PM2, which the PM2 is, you know, a full-size knife. If for those of you that are listening that don't know that, this is a full-size knife. It's an 8-inch knife, basically, just a little over 8 inches. You know, so the Native 5 is 6.9 inches overall, which is basically 7 inches. So it's a 7-inch knife. The blade is 2.9 inches, which is 3 inches, which this probably has You know what? I don't have my I don't have my tape measure with me. You know what? I want to actually measure that. Okay, so my tape measure was actually right next to me. Yeah, that's what I get for being unorganized. Right. So the blade, right? The cutting is 2.5 inches. Right before that finger choil is 2.5 inches. You can make an argument on this blade, right? You can make this is a 3-inch blade, but you can definitely make an argument with this blade and say, yo, this is an under 3-inch blade. I mean, for people who live in areas legal, you do not have more than 3 inches of cutting. This is a finger choil. I mean, yes, is it part of the metallic, metallurgy? Is it part of the blade itself? Yes, but it is not the cutting surface. So you get pulled over by that cop and it's like, is your blade under 3 inches? Yeah, it's 2.5. That's all you got right there. Cutting. This is a finger choil. If this was a blade, you couldn't do this, right? Yeah. So no, it's a small blade. It's a relatively small blade. But it has the physical prowess of a little bit bigger blade because of the finger choil. That's how Spyderco does it. Yeah, this is a very, very, very good, competent cutting tool. Right? That's what this is. This is a very good, competent cutting tool. This is excellent. Excellent for EDC. Everyday cutting, everyday common tasks, common household tasks. It's got this leaf-shaped drop point blade. It does have listen, this is a full flat grind. It really is. I mean, it's got a little swedge up here, but for the most part, it is full flat. It's not as full flat as the PM2. Like, that's ridiculous. Like, just like completely full flat. It does have this one little swedge, but it's a false edge. It's not a real edge, and it's just something to add character to the blade. For the most part, it's a flat grind. So it's a slicer. And it is also leaf shaped. Technically, it's similar to the Mannix. So it has excellent puncture geometry. Fantastic. Like I said, this is Spy 27, Golden Colorado Earth. It has a finger choil right before the handle. That's a blade centric finger choil that allows me to get my whole hand on this knife. That's how much space it gives you. I mean, with the choil. Without the choil, I got 3 fingers. I'm hanging off like this. I got 3 fingers without the choil. Okay, using the choil, I can get my whole hand on there, whole hand. So that is an excellent thing. And in most cases, using this tool, you would be using the choil. Really nice choke up, really nice cuts. If you use a pinch grip, the blade's a little small for that. You come back off the choil, and you can just bear down on the spine of the blade like this and do your precision cuts that way. And technically, holding it with a saber grip, you can do a high angle saber grip in the middle of your palm here, with your thumb up on the jimping, which is excellent, by the way, and you have that grip. So this is just one of those knives that is because it's an FRN, they're basically plastic, basically fiberglass reinforced nylon, and it's considered sort of like a more no frills knife, more of a tool. Yeah, it's sort of overlooked in some ways, but it's very nice. It has a back lock, very nice back lock, and look at this. Whoa, did that just drop? Yeah, it did. So we got some FRN with some drop shutty action here. Yeah, FRN and it's dropping. Do we have any blade play at all? 0. Bank vault lockup. Back lock, Spyderco FRN. What is there to complain about? This knife also comes in MagnaCut, by the way. There's a Salt series that Spyderco puts out. The blade, the handles are usually yellow, and you can also get this knife in MagnaCut. So it literally comes in S35, S30, Spy 27, Rex 45, 4V, and MagnaCut. Did I leave any steels out? Is there anything I didn't mention? Yeah, so you have your choice. It has a backspacer that is also FRN. And like I said, it's all T8s, which is fantastic. And it has a very different clip on it that is that also is the framework for the lanyard hole on one side. It's two-sided tip-up carry, right? You can put it on this side because the holes are right there. Yeah, the holes are there, so you can change it to the other side. And I think this might be exclusive to the Native. I could be wrong, so I don't want to say that. But a lot of Spydercos do not have this. Especially with this thing, like the 3 bolts going around the lanyard hole. Definitely not. Yeah, this is what you got showing. Right, that's what you got showing, sticking out of your pocket. It's enough to grab onto and get it out. You know, yeah, so yeah, it's just one of those centered blade. It's just one of those competent knives. Comes in a whole lot of different steels. Doesn't really have anything that it does wrong. You're not pulling this out at a knife convention showing it off. But if you need something cut, or you need to any type of cutting tasks, I think this is one of those knives that's small. I always say, to take a small knife and do a big knife task is a very difficult thing. You can always take a bigger knife and do a small knife task, especially if the knife is really sharp. If the blade is really sharp and it's a big knife, you can make concessions and you can do things. But when you take a small knife and try to do a task that's really designed for a bigger knife, it's hard to do because there's just not enough. Look at it. You're right. The Chaparral is prime example. Look at this thing. It's small. It's very tiny. You're gonna have hot spots in your hand. There's not enough purchase to grab onto. Not enough grip to move. The Native doesn't have that problem. The Native is a thicker knife. Look at how thick this knife is compared to the Chaparral. They really put some chunk on this FRN, and they did that on purpose. Just so you know, Spyderco doesn't do anything by mistake. They put this on purpose. It's thicker, so that means you can really get your hand on it. They wanted you to have a little bit more beef. They wanted, they really, and the ergos are fantastic. There are no hot spots on this. So, anyway, not going to beat a dead horse. The Spyderco Native 5 lightweight FRN. This happens to be in Spy 27. Like I said, it comes in so many different steels. And this is one that's been around for a long time. This has been reviewed a million times. It's been around a long time. I'm just revisiting it because it's just one of those tools that we love. That's all I got.